There we go. I think we got it. Let's get the stream shared out. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I bet we'll have a pretty slow show today because that's what's going down. We have a few things to talk about. There is a new release from Gminer, release number 2.73. We have, Thanksgiving dinner inflation to talk about, Bitcoin price, and probably a little bit of Bitcoin options to discuss. And then, of course, we'll be checking out the mining market on what to mine, etc. So welcome in, everybody, as you get in here on Thanksgiving. Let me know in the comment section below if you're watching after or in the live chat now. What is... Oh my goodness. Get out of here, Rocket Chat. What coin are you most thankful for this year? That's what I want to know. Boo-doo-boo. Let me quit out of some of these things that are going to notify us so it doesn't interrupt the stream. All right, and before we get into the topics for today, let's go ahead and run the ad for the day. Today's video is brought to you in partnership with GamerSupps. GamerSupps provides a healthy alternative to sugary energy drinks with delicious flavors like Misfits Melon or my favorite Blue Raz. I use the GamerSupps as an alternative to support my active lifestyle outside of content creation. Caffeine-free options are great for late-night gaming after the kids have gone to bed. And my favorite part about GamerSupps is that they accept cryptocurrency. And for a limited time, when you purchase a tub with cryptocurrency, you will receive a Bitcoin shaker. Follow the affiliate link in the description. And don't forget to use code SOAT at checkout. And we are back. So welcome back, everybody. The first topic for today is going to be the Gminer release 2.73. So let's hop into it and see what they got added in here for, of course, the notes right now. So this released 6 hours ago on, of course, Thanksgiving Day 2021, which is crazy. These guys going hard. Here's the notes. Added LHR support for the RTX 3060 GA104. Added option to control LHR tune step size, the LHR auto tune step switch. Added watchdog mode, reboot system or restart miner. Added option to observe rig speed, miner quits if average speed reached limit. Added option to control maximal number of parallel DAG generations. Display IP address of pool in statistics report. And restore overclocking after stopping mining. So nothing really big here as far as mining goes. I don't think like the adding LHR support for basically what is the equivalent of a revision 1 RTX 3060 is that important, seeing as everybody else has already done it. But you never know. Maybe they tweak some code in there that is all of a sudden making the light hash rate GPUs run better. So go check it out and let me know in the comment section below if you discover anything new. Now, I did check out the latest version of, what was it that we tested out last time? Yeah, the NB miner. And so far, there's no change. I was going to do a video on it. I don't know if I'm going to. I do have to get all of this reset up, and then we have a 3070 Ti ready to go. Let's talk about inflation. So if you guys didn't notice, we have some funny tweets from Elizabeth Warren here and talking about inflation for your turkey dinner. Wondering why your Thanksgiving groceries cost more this year? It's because the greedy corporations are charging Americans extra just to keep their stock prices high. This is outrageous. America's biggest companies can't stop bragging to investors about how, this is a Business Insider article, about how they're charging you more. Consumer product companies, the ones that make the most stuff we buy on a daily basis, are posting strong profits this earnings season, even though labor and supply chain difficulties are making things more expensive. Prices for businesses are up more than 8% over the last year, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, adding pressure to their bottom lines. But strong customer demand is allowing many companies to focus their attention on higher-end products and offer fewer discounts and deals, since shoppers have shown a willingness to buy what is available. This is not the corporations necessarily being greedy, right? Because what would happen if they maintain the same prices with shortages and supply chain problems, right, as well as with the increased amount of US dollar in circulation, they would go out of business. So it's really funny how this is getting framed as a rich versus poor thing. When it's really what it is it's the elite, the government, that's making the decisions to implement like the printing of more US dollar that is causing a lot of this. Or of course putting huge restrictions on companies, not allowing the supply chain to act like it normally does. Now maybe that shifts and it works out for the better in the long run, but right now obviously that's not what's happening. It's going poorly. Now, luckily, if you are in cryptocurrency, though, an 8% increase over last year for your groceries is not a big deal, because if you take a look at the Bitcoin price, which 90% of my holdings are in cryptocurrency personally and like 10% in fiat, we're golden, boys. We don't have to worry about it. Look at this. Let's go back to, you can't even go back all the way. There's November of 2020, Bitcoin was $18,730. November of 2021, Bitcoin is, well, actually at $58,923. Last year, about this time, I created a video that said the price of Bitcoin is not going up. The price of the US dollar is going down. Now, like 2 or 3 videos in a row, we've had examples of popular political figures talking down about cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin. Honestly, I think, in my humble opinion, probably out of fear, as it does destabilize, well, the US dollar as a reserve currency, when the reserve currency keeps getting printed and printed and printed and printed. What it is it's a balance and a check for the governments to not overprint. That's what it is. Bitcoin was created for this purpose. I did not think that I would see it come to fruition in my lifetime, much less this quickly. Alas, it has. So it's kind of funny. But my turkey was cheaper this year because I have Bitcoin. And I hope yours was too. All right, let's go ahead and get into the markets. Bearish sentiment grips Bitcoin ahead of $3 billion option expiry. Bitcoin puts options become pricier amid Fed rate amid Fed rate hike fears. Whoo, there we go. We got it. Bitcoin put options derivatives offering downside protection continue to become pricier, implying bearish sentiment. The price volatility may rise as major exchanges, including Deribit, are due to settle money options on Friday. That's tomorrow, I think, after Thanksgiving, which will be the 26th of November. The 3-month put call skew, which measures the cost of puts relative to calls, has turned positive, hit a 6-week high of 3%, according to data provided by the crypto derivatives research firm Skew. The positive numbers show that put options are drawing higher prices or demand than calls or bullish bets. At the start of the month, the 3-month gauge stood at -5%, indicating a bullish bias. The 1 week and 1 month put call skews have seen similar ascents this month and are signaling bearish bias with above zero prints. The 6 month put call skew has turned neutral. A positive skew does not necessarily mean traders are taking outright bearish bets. Rather, they could be adding downside protection against long positions in the spot for futures. In any case, it indicates fear in the market, which is warranted given Bitcoin's 16% fall after hitting a record high of $68,990 on November 10th. Concerns that the U.S. Federal Reserve may chalk out a faster end to its 2-year stimulus program and the resulting strength in the dollar appear to have driven the cryptocurrency lower. The dollar index, which tracks the greenback's value against major fiat currencies, has increased by 3% since the hotter than expected U.S. inflation data release on November 10th. Excuse my cell phone there. The Fed began cutting back on the monthly bond buying program from this month and stands ready to accelerate the unwinding of stimulus if things continue to heat up. Minutes from the November Fed meeting released on Wednesday shows that policymakers were willing to raise interest rates if inflation continues to rise. So the dollar may remain strong in the coming weeks, keeping Bitcoin gains under check. So kind of funny, we're talking about, of course, last year versus this year in the price of turkey and protecting your buying power with cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin. And then we go straight into, okay, this is how they're manipulating fiat currencies to make sure that the US dollar stays strong. Do you trust that or that, right? And that's kind of like one of those things that's kind of interesting. As far as like the options, the reason I wanted to read this article, make sure you guys are aware, is because something's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what it's going to be. We'll find out. But in case you were worried about risking anything or so on, I figured you should be aware that there is an options expiry, and we could see, of course, a shift in the downtrend within the market tomorrow. It's possible. It's also possible that that doesn't happen at all. So there you go. Let's talk about today. I'm super excited. I am thankful that my mining farm is finally making $400 a day once again. It's been a while, boys. We've added a whole bunch of hash. We were going good for a few weeks. We were over $400 a day, and then everything was just getting hit. And then we were also having hash rate issues. Anyways, we finally have an estimated earnings of daily of above 400 US dollar a day, which is currently the ETH equivalent of 0.0895 ETH. So we could just say 0.09 ETH. Yes, finally, I am back over $400 a day. Kind of an interesting note because if we talk about like where I was at like last year, maybe not this time, but let's say like finishing out the room for the mining farm where we were mining in the house. We were at $400 a day on much less equipment. And this is one of those things that like, I think like a lot, we seem to forget about this kind of important note about mining, which is like, because people ask like, well, when are you going to get out before the bear market? And it's not about getting out before the bear market. It's making sure that you make as much profit in a bear market as you do in a bull market. And that's kind of where I'm at this point, meaning like, just because I had to buy more equipment to maintain the same amount of revenue, I don't consider that a net loss, right? I'm just going to keep what I have been referring to as my mining discipline. Mine enough to buy new equipment, put it online, start mining more, make a little bit more. If the market goes down and I make a little bit less, at least I'm not making less than I was previously. And that's kind of my thought process through this entire thing. The other note about that is makes your taxes look a lot better as well, because you're just reinvesting into your business. You can depreciate that across years because it's computer equipment. And definitely talk to a CPA. I'm not a tax attorney. This is just kind of what I understand. And you should definitely consider, my voice cracked. But you should definitely consider, I have something weird going on. I got choked and I can feel like, I don't know if it's like a what do you call it? Like some cartilage or it's weird when I drink, I can feel it like in my throat. Something's healing in there. And it's also causing other weird stuff like voice cracks. But it is what it is. So it's just one of those things that I wanted to like point out as far as like, yes, I used to make $400 a day on a lot less equipment. Is the business failing? I do not think so, because I'm accumulating equipment that has value as well. And that's kind of where I'm at for that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the what to mine though for some individual GPUs. I know we're going to get the questions, and you guys are probably going to have questions that we will come back to this calculator for. That's okay. Let's take a look at the 3090 and calculate it out. We are up to $7.86 a day after power on Ethereum. And then we have a Crypto Night GPU coin here, Equilibria, coming up. There's also this one right here, which is interesting, a Bitcash. Recent difficulty spike. 1.7 time decrease decrease current versus 24-hour rewards. So it's going down as far as that goes. You got flux down here, blah, blah, blah. Let's go ahead and check out the 3080 Ti. Once again, I don't agree with the 85 mega hash here necessarily. You can get that, but it's unreliable. Speaking of, I actually have been having a rig reboot on a 3080, an RTX 3080 Ti. And it is an error for memory allocation. So I had to turn the memory clock off, and it's been running all night with the memory clock off. But there's something going on. I don't know if I need to replace the pads or what. I believe it was it's not the iGame. I'll have to look at the model for you guys later. Anyways, we got to do some research on it because something's wonky there. All right. Let's check out the AMD side of things. Oh, wait. Did we finish this? I was just thinking about my 3080 Ti's. 576 a day after power cost for Ethereum. Equilibria is here. Ergo coming in third with 443 a day. And then Flux down here at the bottom. Let's go ahead and take a look at the, previous gen. This one's the one that always throws a wrench in the plan. The 2080 Ti, still more profitable on Flux. Here's what's interesting though too, because a lot of people have been doing the 2070 Super, so I kind of wanted to start adding those in. But if we go to where's the 2070 Super? It doesn't matter, this is fine. But the 2070s, pretty much everything else, the only thing that makes more on Flux right now, at least according to what to mine, is the 2080 Ti. It's just kind of interesting. Anyways, let's go ahead and look at the 5700 XT. Is doing $3.87 a day after 10 cents a kilowatt hour cost in power. And then Firo is still in second place for, of course, your AMD GPUs at this time. Boom. Boom. So let's get to questions now. I know that we had a pretty slow day. So that's good news that everybody is out doing stuff with their family. 141 concurrent viewers. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to be answering questions in the order of course, your super chats, which I'm always thankful for. And then, of course, the @SonOfATech switch so that I can see, what you're saying. Makes it easier. And then I'll try to parse out any questions outside of that. Bam. Did I get that? Woo. Sitting down. Gonna drink my gamer fuel. I don't have the Bitcoin shaker today. It was dirty. All right. Let's get through it. Oh, John Lemon says, glad to see you back in the white box. Yeah, I got to get it all cleaned up, don't I? It's pretty bad right now. Flexing on that turkey. Hell yeah. We got to go make sure it's getting cleaned up for sure too right now. We got to go get it warming up. John Lemon says, any opinions on Cardano? Well, so, I mean, the only reason I like Cardano is because Ergo uses it as it uses Ergo as an oracle. It's tightly integrated with Ergo, and we really need Ergo as a GPU mining community, I feel like, at this point, over most of the other coins. Flux is fine. I wouldn't consider Flux to be an Ethereum, right? I would consider Ergo to be an Ethereum from the perspective of like programmable blockchain, NFTs, decentralized finance. Ergo also has like caught up on a lot of that stuff, and a lot of it is built off of like the same kind of, I guess, the same kind of tools that like Cardano uses. So from a GPU miner's perspective, I like Cardano, but not because I directly like Cardano, but because I like Ergo. As far as like if I'm looking at it as a whole, excuse me. I really like Polkadot probably the most for their documentation for developers. Mike Wheelies has 17 gigahash. Well, you are in the money, my man. Is ETH most profitable? Yes, currently ETH is most profitable. Well, especially if you're talking in numbers like 17 gigahash, but yeah. Babblefish says, son of a tech, have you bought any of the Asus 3080 pre-built PC so far? They have been full hash rate. No, I have not. So you're saying that there are non-light hash rate unlocked, or there's like non-light hash rate unlocked Asus pre-builts with 3080s in them? Is that true? And you're getting them from Best Buy? I feel like I need to go check that out. Want to thank Z's World for the $5. Swinny, thanks for the positive vibes. John Z says, at Son of a Tech, what is the best GPU to mine Raven on? I don't know about the best. It's still going to be the same. So the hard part is like Raven still is pretty much the same as ETH. From like memory performance, it just uses more power. So it's not like Flux where like the 2080 Ti is clearly better than everything else, right? Like if you looked at like whatever, where is it? Oops, I did that wrong. Yeah, you see how like it's clear that Flux is better on the 2080 Ti. There's not really anything that's like that for Ravencoin. The other hard part about Ravencoin is, I can tell you this is incorrect. So if you flash the 5700 XT with the Ethereum flashing BIOS, essentially strapping those memory timings like I've showed you guys to do last year, it actually gives you 27 mega hash a second. And if we're talking about that, then obviously Ravencoin takes over the Firo. So there's that. So there's that. All right. Let's get back to it. All right, gaming and tech and nerve says, son of a tech, I'm getting a constant 77 mega hash a second on your RTX 3080 Lite hash rate. So what should I expect my earning to be per day, and will Bitcoin fall or rise according to you? I do not know what Bitcoin will do. Not financial advice, but I would assume Bitcoin in the long run goes up. So you have a 3080 Lite hash rate, but this isn't calculated properly, so let's update it. You say you're getting 77 mega hash a second. On Ethereum, that should be $5.39 a day after 10 cents a kilowatt hour. I don't know what the average cost of power in India is, though. So sorry about that. Sonny says, would you hold more ETH or Bitcoin? Bitcoin's sound money. ETH is not sound money. Well, it's as simple as that, guys. Let's see if we can get a definition right here. So it looks like the dictionary has it. Just an idea. It's like an old, I would say outdated, but money not liable to sudden appreciation or depreciation in value. Stable money, specifically a currency based on or redeemable in gold. Now, as you know, the US dollar is no longer based on gold. And while it appears that the volatility is within Bitcoin, I would argue that the volatility is really within the US dollar and fiat currencies. And that is primarily due to the fact that Bitcoin is, while not backed by gold, is a finite resource. Ethereum is not. All right. Z's World, thanks again for another $5. Have you thought about setting up a layer 2 node like that of Solana? No, I haven't. I know a lot of people like Solana. I don't know that I guess I need to research it, but I don't know a whole lot about it other than like NFTs and cheaper than ETH. You know what I mean? Which is like Ergo does that. Lots of other projects do that. Oh, anyways. Danilo says, is there a reason why What to Mine doesn't show a lot of coins on AMD cards and doesn't list the 6900 XT? Can you mine on those? Yeah, so I have a 6900 XT actually in this rig right now. And the short answer is essentially that the 6900 XT is no different than the 6800 XT. So there's no reason to add it. Like if we're talking about mining performance, there's no difference. And the reason for that's pretty simple, right? So if we do like 6800 XT, let's just pull them up, right? So there's that. We'll do the RF 6900 XT. I love my 6900 XT. It is my favorite main system gaming card that I've ever owned. I love high refresh rate, right? So I'm a big fan. But it's really as simple as this. If you take a look, it's going to be this GPU memory, right? So your memory bandwidth up to 512 gigabytes per second. Memory bandwidth up to 512 gigabytes per second. This is why the 6800 XT and the 6900 XT perform exactly the same. There's no difference in memory interface. There's a few things that AMD did that are really interesting. So they've basically compensated for their GDDR6 speed versus GDDR6X from NVIDIA by adding in this infinity cache. And what you'll notice is in pure rasterization, this actually ends up playing in their favor, right? So let's see if I can pull it up. So if we took a look at your Firestrike 1080p tests, right? And you just take a look at like the 3090 versus the 6900 XT, you'll see like 14% increase in some cases on the 6900 XT versus the RTX 3090. So while pure power for memory or whatever goes to NVIDIA, this infinity cache is making it up for that, because it's able to communicate faster between the core and the memory modules, which is really what you're trying to do when you're trying to output as many frames as possible. There we go. All right. Most of you miners are probably not interested in that kind of stuff, but I really dig it. So we'll move on though. Let's scroll down. Oh man, I missed some. Chandler says, how are people getting their estimates of ASIC hash rate percentage on ETH? I don't know what you're asking. Gaming and Tech in there's already answered your question. Please stop spamming it in chat. And if you missed it, then you need to rewind. Don't ask a question and then run off. Raul Dixit said, son of a tech, are you a gamer turned miner? Pretty much. You know, I don't game as much as I used to. Kids trying to learn how to do. I'm gaming in real life right now. That's it. That's all. But I will be gaming more. Seb's FinTech is up in the chat. Make sure you guys go check out his channel. I will get a link. Thanks for stopping by, Sebs. And make sure you guys go follow him. I'm going to type it into chat right now. I think most of y'all should know who he is. Bam, there we go. All right. And let's see. Mark Gear asked, would mining on a 550 Ti 6 GB be worth it? No. Also, 550 Ti, what do you... I don't even know what that is. It's definitely not 6 GB. That's an old card. I mean, I know what it is, but there's no 6 GB model of that, unless you're thinking something else. All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Waz, good to see you in chat, says, as son of a tech, Bitcoin is sound money, but doesn't ETH have more space to increase in value? Well, the potential of ETH to grow or decrease in value is synonymous, right? So if we're talking about trying to protect our buying power as individuals and financial independence, then we are leaning more towards the idea of Bitcoin. If you are talking about purely trying to make money, then you're going to assume more risk. Now, this isn't financial advice or anything like that, but yes, just as much as Ethereum has the potential to increase in value due to basically the assets that it enables, is kind of where I would look at that, right? Basically the NFT DeFi space or whatever. It also has the potential to decrease in value by just as much, right? Meaning this higher risk, you know, higher reward potentially, but we're also talking about two different principles. In my humble opinion, you're talking about with Ethereum just being in there to make money. You're talking about with Bitcoin, you're trying to get in there to basically experience financial freedom. And financial freedom doesn't mean that you have to be rich, right? It just means you control your money and you can be sure of what money that you've put into it, right? And that's kind of the idea. All right. Let's get down here. Zebo says, at Son of a Tech, have you ever ran into a card that cannot overclock the memory? You have a MSI 3070 Ti Lite hash rate that crashes if you tweak it. Yeah, I mean, that happens. If you tweak it at all and it's crashing, that's kind of interesting. If it's like every time, how much are you tweaking it by? Have you checked like with something like hardware info to make sure that you're not thermal throttling it all on the memory modules? Because maybe you have a bad pad placement right off the bat. That could be something that's going on. Babelfish says, that's Tech. I hope everything is going better for you. Yes, sir. It was good. Thank you. Let's go. XPS0. Thanks for the $4.99. He says in the super chat, Sapphire Pulse RX 6600 non-XT 29 mega hash a second at 70 watts wall draw. Your thoughts on this? 40% fan speed core and memory under 70C. Better than a 3090. So the best price I can currently get on the 6600s. So here's the thing with the 3090s. I feel like right now you can get 3090s on the used market versus the 6600s you can't really get on a used market, right? But like if we were to just say for fun, so there's a couple things. We would have to compare, first of all, the 29 mega hash, right? Or the 30 mega hash. So you would take 120 mega hash that a 3090 would have, and you would divide that by the 30. You would need 4 GPUs, essentially 4 6600s, to compete with a 3090 at this point right now. So if you're 70 watts at the wall, but let's just say, I think like, I don't know, a 3090, what does What to Mine say? What to Mine says 320 watts. That's probably about right. Calculate that out. And then if you did 4, what is it? 4 times the 70 watts. It's about even because that's 280 watts. I think you're about 280 watts there. So what do you got to take into consideration? First of all, you got to take into consideration pricing, right? So that's a really hard one to do because your mileage is going to vary depending on your geographical location right now for purchasing GPUs. Like I know that the only way I've been able to get 6600s is within bundle packages. And the only reason I went for the bundle packages was because, well, I could mine Raptorium on the motherboards that I got, right? And so as long as I could kind of at least try to compensate that way, it kind of made sense to me. But I only have one on order, right? At this point, I didn't order more. You can't really buy many. If you get it in a bundle, you're still paying $450 for the card. So like, let's say at retail, you're getting them for $450, which would be generous. That's $1,800. And I'm personally buying 3090s used for $1,800 right now. So I wouldn't do that. Plus, you got to take into account the bundles. Most of them are going for like $600, $700. So I don't know, man. Is it better? I don't know. You can also take into account that you are going to take up 4 PCI slots for the same amount of hash power that you would take up 1 PCI slot on a 3090. So you need more motherboards, which means eventually you need more memory, which means you need more, well, not necessarily power supplies, but you need more plugs for the power supplies, right? You need more PCIe power cables. You need more CPUs. You need more frames. So there's also an argument for density there as well. It's pretty much my only point. Let's see. Mike Wheely says, do you have a recommendation for someone or a company or tech support on a crypto farm? What do you mean? I'm not too clear on what you're asking for, to be honest, bud. Like, I don't know. I do everything by myself. Hey, Max Voltage is in the chat as well. Let's see. Let's go ahead and... Did you change your... Oh, you got like a new logo and all that? Cool, Max. Yeah, make sure you guys go follow Max as well. I'm going to go ahead and throw that down in chat. Be thankful for our cryptocurrency mining fam. All right. Bit of sin says, at Son of a Tech, what card would you recommend? I have been getting the 1660 Super, but looking into newer NVIDIA cards. I mean, if we're doing, now that's a comparison, 1660 Super versus the RX 6600. That's a comparison, because you can technically get more hash rate out of the 1660 Super, but that being said, the RX 6600 non-XT uses less power. So I think there's an argument there. That's a much more interesting battle to me, would be a 1660 Super versus the 6600. I think Best Buy is now out of 1660 Supers. They had some for like $550, which is too expensive, I think. Well, I don't know. The problem is like, now everything seems like it's up for grabs. John Z says, as Son of a Tech, is it safe to mine on your personal gaming PC? I've heard so many conflicting things. I do have an entire video on it. I definitely recommend caution. No personal financial information on there. If you do have that, then I think you should dual boot into a separate OS, and even go so far as to BitLocker your OS drive for Windows, whatever you're gaming on. I do not recommend downloading and running miners on machines that have personal or financial information on them. Tread carefully, right? Chandler says, at Son of a Tech, people estimating the percentage of the hash rate on ETH is ASIC versus GPU. I still don't understand. It's not clear. Whatever you're asking isn't clear to me. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just too early in the morning or what. All right. Let's see. Phil says, will you start to sell off your GPUs and get more into ASIC? No. That won't. Well, thanks for the $5. You rock, my man. Danila Gomes says, at the current time, how do you feel about the risk between, say, buying a GPU and having ETH proof of stake dropped on you versus buying a CPU to mine on a longer ROI? How will CPU mining be affected? You have basically two options for CPU mining that may be replaced by GPU mining anyways. One is going to be Monero, which is like the tried and true, but you're not going to make a lot of money on it. And then you also have Raptorium, which is not tried and true, got boosted up in popularity due to, of course, its profitability, but literally only has one miner, and pretty much at this point, let's be honest, one mining pool with a huge increase in difficulty and super duper duper sketchy. It's not the type of project that survives a bear market. It just isn't, and I wouldn't expect it to. Now, Monero will survive a bear market, but your cost to profitability is sketchy at best. I'm not a fan. Not only that, but we also have to go back to the density problem, which is like, what are you going to buy? A motherboard, a power supply, memory, and a processor for every single miner? Like, you're just going to be stacked up. Now, a way around that, of course, may be that doesn't even work either. You can't even buy the server power supplies because they don't make them like that yet. But hopefully, and maybe we can talk to the homies at Parallel to start doing breakout boards with 24 pins. It doesn't seem smart to build out a CPU mining farm to me. I could be completely wrong, but it seems like a nightmare to go to scale on that. Plus, like I said, the only coin that's profitable basically only has one mining pool and one miner. So there's no competition in there at all. John Lemon says, Samatek, Voss does deals with Gold Shell on Mini Doge and stuff like that. Have you ever considered it? I'd love to get a soap branded Mini Doge. No company has ever reached out to me to do anything like that. I think the channel would have to be much larger. I don't really know exactly how that works. BT Miners sponsors the channel, but they don't even sponsor it to the point to they wouldn't. I asked them about even paying in ASIC miners just so I could have some for review, and they were pretty much like, no, you'd have to buy them. We could give you a discount. And I was like, yeah, no thanks. So I don't know. I'll keep buying 3090s, boys. So you guys think that he's asking how many GPUs are on the network versus ASICs? I have no idea. How many? So if that's the question, I don't know. Corleone says, what have you heard of India banning cryptocurrency? That's something that's been done multiple times. India's talked about that multiple times. Until it happens, I guess, I don't know. Who cares? We need more information. I feel like I always hear about India banning it. It doesn't happen. Now, it could be the same case with what happened with China, where, it just looked like nothing was going to happen, but then finally it started getting implemented. So, waiting for that. Namaste, thanks for the $5. Love you too, and happy Thanksgiving, good sir. John Z. So they have 24 pin. What you would need though is multiple 24 pin. So I have the 24 pin. What I'm talking about is you would need essentially for it to be, how would you explain it? For it to be more dense and function better, you need it to essentially, you're going to need like a breakout board that has multiple 24 pin powers off of it, plus multiple additional CPU powers off of it. Problem is like on a breakout board, you're not going to be able to fit many. You could maybe fit like 4, maybe 4 24 pins, but that's still better. At least you would have 4 motherboards, 4 like CPU mining builds per power supply, right? Which could help. I think, well, that not could help, would definitely help. Oh, and I forgot about also your networking cost goes up as well. You need a larger switch because every rig that's mining will need the LAN cable. which means you're also going to need more ports, which means that your switching pricing goes up as well compared to GPU mining, where you can throw 12 GPUs or whatever on a single rig, that sort of thing. Lala says, wouldn't the A4000 be better than the 3090? I haven't got my hands on one yet. Sorry. Hi, son. Switched my rig from ETH to Raven. Constantly having a problem with restarting rig every 15 to 20 minutes. Tried all settings, nothing. Switched back to ETH, no problem at all. Any idea? Power supply and power delivery. ETH takes a significant more, Raven takes a significant more amount of power. And so if you're having those reboots, there's something going on with power delivery. It could be on an individual card needing a little bit more core voltage, or it could be like literally like overwhelming your power supply. Those are two things right off the top of my head. Yeah, John Z says that's out of attack. Gotcha. So like many 24 pins. Yeah. And then you say, yeah, I wouldn't use a splitter at all. So here's something that is interesting that everybody should take into consideration. Those 24 pin splitters, if you're mining on the CPU on those rigs, right? You don't want, I wouldn't do that. You're especially going to cause weird issues on the power supplies too. I would jump your secondary, like let's say it's like a mining rig where you got like, I don't know, a 15 or 3900X, and then you're running 3090s on top of that, so you're running a secondary power supply. I wouldn't even run a secondary 24 pin splitter just to trip the deal, unless it only has the 2 cables. But even then, I think you're risking something there. Because you're drawing more power. I would be careful. I would just jump it. Racco says, what do you think about 1070s? You can get 7-month ROI. They're pretty old cards. I don't know what their resale is going to be. And, I mean, obviously we're getting into kind of the section of like running out of time, I suppose, for mining Ethereum. So what's your ROI based on? Is it based on Ethereum? You know, that sort of thing. Raul says, I am from India. This time it's real. On Monday, crypto will be presented in Parliament session. People panic sold crypto on Indian exchanges, and crypto was at a 25% discount on the India exchanges. That's pretty cool, I guess, but also not good. And what is the difference? So when you say presented in Parliament, like in the United States, if it's presented to like the House or the Congress or whatever, right? That doesn't mean that it's necessarily passed. So you say it's real. The policy is real. The draft of the policy is real, but it hasn't passed because it has to go through Parliament still. Or has it passed and it's getting signed into law on Monday? I don't understand the, I don't have as much information to understand, I guess, Indian politics. Is that how you would say it? Clyde says, at Son of a Tech, is Ergo solo mining doable, worthwhile at 2 gigahash? I don't know. Possibly. I'm kind of I'm in the run a business mode, so I'm not taking all of those crazy chances of jumping ship and trying to solo mine something with my farm. Raul says it will be passed because government has majority in the parliament. I mean, isn't the parliament just the government? I don't know. Gotcha. Oh. Well, boys and girls, we're getting down to the last 2 minutes. So 2-minute drill. Make sure you hit any questions that you have. I am going to go get ready for our Thanksgiving Day. We're going to have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you guys will have a wonderful Thanksgiving as well. Thanks everybody that showed up today on, of course, Thanksgiving Day. We were down on viewers today, but I expected that for Thanksgiving. I still wanted to make sure that for those of you that either don't participate in Thanksgiving or, you know, maybe lonely or whatever, you had some content to watch today. I think we covered some fun topics, and I will see you guys next Tuesday. And I'm going to check for a couple more questions if needed. Jason says, so I'm about to set up my LLC for mining since I bought so much hardware this year. Is there anything in particular to include in it? You should get with a CPA. And then have them help you structure that. My CPA, and yours could be different, recommended an S Corp under the LLC. So, go figure that out. Your situation could be different. Sonavec asks how tall I am. I'm 6 foot exactly. See you next Tuesday.